Hey there, welcome everybody. Another episode of Dave Cooper Live Product Spotlight. And today at Dave Cooper Live, we are bringing you the people and the processes that are building it better. Our guests and topics include experts in building systems to building science, building codes to the tech used to build it better. And today, I definitely want to say a thank you to our sponsor, Forward Solutions Group. Ben Hershey, Joe Butler, they are a team with more than 175 years of experience developing and specifying manufacturing for panelized and volumetric modular industries with best practices in development and implementation. They offer consulting with investors, developers, manufacturers, and builders using off-site manufacturing methods. Forward Solutions is driving companies to succeed where others have failed. So with that said, if you do not know Ben and Joe, please reach out to them. You can reach Ben at forwardsolutionsgroup.com. Okay, now that we got that done, let's hop into today. Today's going to be an exciting episode. We're going to talk about what the factories of the futures are all about, where they're going, how they're getting there, and the people that understand how to do this. And this is what's so exciting about today's episode. So without further ado, why don't we bring on Lars Wickham. Hey, Lars, how are you?
Hi there. I'm good. How are you?
Man, I am doing great. I mean, hey, the internet signal's working. You know, I'm sitting outside. It's a beautiful day before Thanksgiving here in the United States. So I don't really have much to complain about. And I got somebody with a great mind on that's going to walk us through a presentation and a demonstration and all those things. So I'm really excited about this.
At my side, it's dark, it's rainy, and I don't like this time of the year at all. But it's just to cope and continue.
Yeah.
The summer will come and it will be daylight the 24 hours a day.
Right. Hey, well, you know what? It does, right? The seasons are the seasons, you know, but what are we going to do about it? All right, everybody, listen, before we hop into this, please hit that like and share button. We are live on 3 locations, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. And if you are not a subscriber to our YouTube channel, please go there right now and subscribe. All right, Lars, listen, I want to learn everything that we can possibly learn about you today. So if you could start us off by giving us your background. We want to know everything from the moment you were born to this very second in time. And don't leave out any of the good stuff. You got about 3 minutes to do it. Go for it.
Yeah. I am from Sweden. I've been living in Sweden most of my time. I have been spending some time in Asia, making a hydropower station there for 4 years together with my family, my 4 kids and my wife. Coming back to Sweden, I have been working in the automotive industry and the furniture industry quite a lot with IKEA. And that has been in the automation area, robot technology and process development, and all kind of things like that. I have been working with ABB Robotics, developing robots for them for some times. Been working with the foundry industry worldwide, traveled around and looked into all the processes there. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about our learning in the house industry and the modular building industry, and that is coming in a presentation soon.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
enough. Listen, we're talking about automation in our industry all the time, right? Designing, DFMA. We're talking about how do we bring automation in. You and I had a conversation. How does an existing factory bring automation in? And can they bring automation in? Or does it just make sense for new factories coming online? So I know you have a presentation for us. So you just let me know how you want to kick off on this, and then we'll dive deep.
Yeah, I can start with the presentation, and then we just go from there.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
So can you see my presentation?
Yep, perfect.
Yes. So I already told you about my background. So I've been working with robotics for a big part of my life, and automation for different type of production units and industries, quite a lot to furniture and other wood industry. But just recently, or it came up in 2015, a factory in Sweden that asked us to look into their process, and that is what I am going to talk about mostly. So I have 5 bullet points, and we can just go through them. And I'm starting with an example, and that is the a real application that we made for a company called Moelven Byggmodul. They are a Scandinavian company and one of the biggest ones, together with Lindbäcks, that is also a big producer of modules. And we have some more as well. But these two are really advanced in what they are doing. But this one asked me 2015, was a guy there called Lars Hartman. He called me and asked me if we could do something with his line. He had optimized his process. He went from doing 2 boxes a day, and then he worked with logistic and making a material flow and all that kind of things in a way. So he came up to 4 boxes a day, and then the board asked for 8 boxes a day, and obviously you need to do something more radical. And so he wanted to bring a better technology and more help, more machines, and why don't use robots? So my old company that was called APR, it's now owned by another company. And the material is coming from Lars Hartman and Moelven. Here's Lars Hartman, and he is standing at the framing station that we made, and of course he's demonstrating it, and he's lifting in a stud there, and all the positioning and everything is given by the data coming from the CAD drawings and from the designer, and he is just demonstrating how we can build a frame here. Here's Lars again in the sheeting station, and there you can see 2 robot arms. They have a router, 1 each, and they have stapling tools just in this picture. And now I'm going to show you a video, and we'll talk at the same time, so I explain a few things for you. So the sizes are a bit smaller here in Europe than it is in USA. So we have a machine making 12-meter length and 4.5 meter width, almost 5 meter, I think. And here you can see the process in the framing station. It's manually loaded, but all other information is coming from the CAD file. And of course, all the cutting and so on is made in a handegger in the stage before, kitted, and then you are just adding the material as you are told to do in this machine. We have the top and bottom plate production within the machine, so we are just kind of endless making the top and bottom plate, and the machine have a saw function, so we are cutting the right length of the top and bottom plate. You can see the sheeting station coming after the framing station, and the sheeting station in this particular wall we are using plywood. It could have been OSB or something else, of course, but the bottom layer is plywood. The top layer will be drywall. So it starts with the bottom, and we are doing all the processes in the first layer, and the robot is changing tools according to what you are doing. So here you have a screwing tool. the two robots are working together. One is handling the sheet, the other one is doing nailing, but then the both one are working together as well. Here you are doing the hole for electrical connection. And here it's one robot picking up a gripper to actually take care of the waste in a door opening. So one robot is cutting, or both of them are cutting for a while, and then one is gripping the material, and the other one is cutting it loose. And the material is going to be reused if it can, or is sent back to the supplier that can use it again. That is especially for the drywall. So that is not a waste really, it's just going to be a new board later. The quality of this is much better than doing it manually, of course. If you have tuned the machine right and everything works, it's a really a better quality product in the end.
Wow. So two machines are framing. They're framing, they're nailing, they're putting the sheathing down, they're putting the sheetrock down, they're doing the routing of the openings, the holes, the doors. One holds the excess waste while the other one finishes the cut. I mean, it's amazing. And it's how fast is that done compared to manual labor?
It's just that you don't have labor. I think that is the main thing. If you're adding a lot of people there, of course, it will be faster than the robots. So it's not really a matter of doing it faster. I think it's more a matter of having the quality coming out in the same way all the time, and also, of course, cutting the cost for the production. But the quality is a really big thing. And I mean, you are reducing the manpower in the assembly line or in the production line quite a lot. And I think that can be compared with the automotive industry as well. There, if you're automating automotive industry, you are cutting away 2/3 of the manpower in that part of the process. And I think it's about the same thing for this kind of production line.
Sure.
Okay. But the thing is that you need to feed these machines with data, and that is whatever it is, a robot or another special machine, it needs to be fed with the right data. So we created a software based on AutoCAD, and we was outsiders. We were not doing this normally, so we used our knowledge from other industries and did something that actually worked very well. So it's one person creating the data for this factory, no one more. And it's not real. The reason why this production is going so good, I should say that as well, is partly because it's not really a snowflake production. This factory and this producer have been able to standardize their production. So it's not new walls all the time. It's a standard box, and they are doing a number of different standard boxes, of course, and they are changing the process now and then. But it's standardized, and that's the key for the whole industry. I think that we need to make products of what we are doing. This is just a real production. It's a robot that is lifting a OSB in this case. The frame is coming directly from the framing station. The machine is stapling, in this case, the OSB sheets. I don't know if you can hear something, but it's very fast when you're doing stapling. But all data is coming from the CAD drawing, and nothing is added manually. The robots are doing whatever they are told to do. within the limits they can work. So of course it's important that the designer and the one that is doing the CAD data is doing the right thing, because this machine compared to a manual factory is much more limited to what it can do. A manual factory can do whatever they are told to do. It will be very slow, it will be very costly, and it will maybe be a poor quality, but they do what it said on the drawing. So what is machine data? And how does the machine know where to nail and screw and place components? Yeah, it's all coming from the module and from the drawings, and it can be all kind of different softwares, Revit and AutoCAD or other CAD softwares. And you also have software that is actually working more on the production of the data. It's not a CAD system like Struxsoft up there. And Vertex is also doing both CAD and data production. But it's all coming from the CAD system. So we are exporting things from the CAD. So here you have a 2D drawing, and it generates different types of language to different type of machines, because machine builders, they tend to do this in their own way. So it's a number of different types of data files. And it could be like Randek here. We have some friends over in Nampa in Idaho that is using XML format. That is more a general one. We have the Germans that are using their format, and TXT is another, and then you have a number of automating companies that are making their own stuff.
Right.
So it's not so easy for the factory to find out how to do this in today factories. And it's also not easy to understand what is actually the data saying before it comes out from the machine. This is my data, and I have people within my team that directly see things in this flow of text. For me, it's just Greek, and I don't understand much of it. So thankful for having software that can make this understandable. So this is actually, this is not a CAD drawing. This is data presented graphically. So here you can see a wall. It was exactly what we see here. It's the data, but when we do it graphically, we see it in this way, and we can all understand how it's fitting together. This is just another example for how you can visualize the data flow. This is actually all the pieces in a wall, and it could be that we used a cutting machine just producing the parts and lay them out on the wall, on the floor, and then we are just magically putting them together. So they are becoming a wall, and that is actually just the data doing this. And we need to be able to control this data so it becomes to the right things, and the machines get the data in the way so the machines can do what it's supposed to do.
Right.
So having a designer here making something for the machine that is not possible to produce is going to make a disaster. So you kind of need to work on the whole picture, and that is why we need to go up in the helicopter. And we are flying our helicopter very high up in the air. It's so thin, so it can almost not go higher.
So Lars, why don't before we go to this next step, I want to get to a couple comments that are coming in, so we can grab them as we come, and then we'll come back to this next, because the helicopter stuff is a whole nother conversation that I think is just going to be phenomenal. So let's go to some comments. I'm going to put us back full screen, so your presentation is going to come off for a second here, and let's just see who we have out here. You may know some of these people. Von Buckley, good afternoon, Dave. Good evening, Lars. Looking forward to it. Love it.
Hi there.
Nicole Emilio, Casper, we have friends in Sweden. Beautiful country. I would agree with that. All right, so here we go. Let me see who else we have. All right, Charles Warfield. Sorry if this was already addressed. I joined a minute late. We know that personnel is a huge challenge in all industry. What type of capital investment is needed, and roughly what is the return on investment on this type of investment? That's a loaded question, huh?
Yeah, it's a hard question. It's all about, and that's I mean, if you are doing this bad, it will be a long time before you are getting the money back. We need to do this in the right way, and this industry have no history really. So we actually need to use other industries to learn from them. And I am the believer of that most things are already invented. Most materials is already there. It's just that we need to combine them in the right way. And we need to develop this over time. But I think we can make a big leap by actually focus on making the next generation factory. But we are not there yet. We need to work on that. And the investment get back to the investment for the factory I showed you as an example was about 2 years. So that was quite quick back. But it's all depending on how big factory you are doing and so on.
Yeah, for sure.
And I also believe that you need to do, it's not just putting one robot in one corner in the factory. That is not going to help very much. You need to look, again, you need to go up in the helicopter, and you need to see the whole material flow and the whole factory, and just doing the right thing. Yeah.
Yep, and we're gonna jump into some of that some more. Charles, Vaughn, and also Nicole, thank you for those comments. We also have Henry Mickelberg chiming in today. How you doing, Henry? Have you performed any human versus robot time comparisons? If not, how did you determine the metrics to decide upon the considerable investment of automation?
I didn't hear your voice really. It was cutting.
So if you're looking at this, you might have your presentation on the screen. Give me 1 second. Let me do this. You see it now?
Yeah. We have not really done that. We have not compared humans and robots in time. It's more a quality issue, I think, and cutting cost of the labor. But that is, I don't have so much to say about this question more than that.
Yeah. Okay. All right, we're going to take one more, and then we'll get back into the helicopter. So here we go. Joe Hutchins, Ravaya, do you have data on the typical time spent CAD/CAM process per project? It's great that you can have multiple file formats to plug in the data from drawings, but in most cases, there's a lot more detail needed to be added to make the machine work.
Yeah, that's a good question. And it's all about that is another process we need to work on in the factory of the future. We need to find the process for the whole production of a house, and that includes the process of getting the data. And I think that we need to be much more standardized there as well. So as it is today, it can be very, very complicated because the design is not made for a factory necessarily. It's not made for automated product. It's just made to be a house. And if you are doing design like that, it will not fit the automated process. And it will not fit the manual process either. It will be be a problem, and you are doing things all over again, time after time, and it's just project by project. It's not a long-term development. So it's a part of it.
Yeah. So what do you think, Lars? Should we get back into your private helicopter here and go for some flight lessons?
Let's go as high it can go.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
All right.
So up in the helicopter, and this is of course a simple sketch for how we think that the whole development or the process for a production looks like, and mostly it is a developer that is seeing a need. They have a customer somewhere and they see the need of that customer, and you have a government and citizen authorities that are also asking questions for their people. And the developer see a piece of land, and then he asks an architect that is asking a designer, and the architect is probably thinking something else than the customer actually needs. It comes back to the developer. The developer goes with his material down to a factory or to different factories, and all these factories, they are looking at the material. They go to the sub-suppliers of material and products. After quite the time, they are coming back to the developer, and most likely the price is too high because the margins is not there anymore. So he goes back to the architect, and it goes back and forward like that for quite a long time. And what I am trying to say here is that here we have a production situation there. The design is driving the production. The production need to do what the design is telling it to do. And that means that you are just doing projects, and you are not developing by long-term R&D and so on, machines and processes in the right way. You are not dealing with the material suppliers in the right way, and not the other suppliers. And it's hard for the end customer to actually get the right product, the product that they need. Most likely, especially, I mean, I can just see my market around here in Europe, and it's a lot of expensive houses built, both single family houses, but also multi-family houses. They are all too fancy and expensive. So this is in the helicopter picture from an outsider, the view. And from the outsider that has been working in other industries, we just have the feeling that production in a factory need to be more like a brand. If you are looking at the affordable house industry, it will always be other industries, other production of houses and infrastructure and so on. There the function will be as it is today. So it's not saying that we are destroying all the structure and just do something new. The new structure we are thinking about is maybe, I don't know, maybe it's 20% of the market, or is some other figure of the market. It doesn't matter really. The thing is that a piece of the market should be made in another way. And we believe that the brand is the way. If we're looking at the automotive industry or furniture industry, other consumable industries, they are all working towards a brand, and they are developing. They are very close to the customer, so they are actually the whole purpose of their existence is the relation with the customer, and they in relation to other suppliers, they need to be the best, or at least one of the best, and they develop a brand that suits for a specific customer need. Right. So we are making here a symbol of how to do things closer to each other, taking away a lot of communication steps, and the factory and the designer should be one. And we need to develop it to be a product for a specific end customer category. That is the meaning of this picture. Can I continue, or do you have some questions?
Let's hop. We got a couple more comments that came in. Let's take some comments. I had a question though. I mean, and I know you may jump into this as well. What do you think? How big of a part in the change in our industry will the actual suppliers have versus the manufacturers? You know, who's going to drive this change? We're not there yet. It's expensive, you know, and there's not enough people that are implementing this strategy just yet. What is your thoughts on that? Who's going to be the main force in making this change more mainstream for us?
Can you please do that question again? I was flipping around with my computer.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm looking to find some view as to who do you think is going to be one of the main players in making this change come about in our industry for production. Is it suppliers? Is it manufacturers? Or is it consumer? Or is it going to be a mix of all?
It's a mix of all. I do think that if we're talking affordable industry, affordable house industry, I definitely think that we need to tighten the situation with far too many that are dealing with the product, and it takes far too long time. And I think that the supplier, the factory itself, is very important. I think that the brand, within the brand, if the brand is the factory, also the design. So it's a symbiosis between the designer and the production that is going to make a good product. And I think that it will be someone within the industry coming up, but I also think that it probably gets an outsider to do a real change, because this long history. Henry Ford, he started 1908 making cars in a good way that has been developed for 120 years. And the question is actually what would happen if Henry Ford did houses instead, and how would it look like if we make cars like making houses? That is just a question that is I'm placing it to myself, and I just think that it would have been something very different in the house industry as well if we started in another way. Now it has gone 120 years, and we just need to do something. The people living on this earth need it. So we need to do something.
Yeah, no, we definitely do. All right, let's hop to some comments and questions here. Joel had a follow-up. He says, why standardize when you have tools like computational design?
The standardization is like a car. When you're making a car, you don't do all kind of things, all kind of different cars in the same factory, and you have options. So I'm not saying that standardization is just boring and is not giving options for the customer. I think our way of doing it is going to give more options to the end user, in terms. Also in multifamily houses, it could be a lot of more options directly to the end customer. But standardization need to be the base. If we want to do automation in the right way, we need to have a standard to build the machines on. The machines are not going to be able to do what humans can do. The humans are super flexible, and the machines are not so flexible. So therefore, we need to limit the amount of variations, and that's what I am talking about when we are saying standard products.
Awesome. Thanks, Joel, for the question. David Graham says, I don't compare time trials of humans versus robotic is not a fair time trial comparison, as robotics can work 24/7 versus humans working 8-hour shifts 5 days a week.
Yeah,
very true.
Correct.
All right, so let's keep going down the line here. Pontus Wickham, you guys know each other. David Graham, that is a good point. However, very few factories have gotten their automation so far so that no operators are needed. Humans need to aid the robotics in different ways to keep them running, fill materials, take decisions, etc. And few house factories choose to run 3 shifts covering 24/7. So most robots are probably utilized in an average 8 to 16 hour each day at most cases.
Yeah, Pontus, he is my partner, but he's also my son. So that's a pleasure.
Love it. All right. Well, hey, Pontus, nice to meet you. We should have had you come on with your dad. That's awesome that he's doing. Wow, look at this one. All right, we're going to have to read this one. Brian Dorsey, Lars, long time, my friend. Hope all is well with you and the family. I may have missed this, but where is the panelized source derived from? Specifically looking for an example of design platforms leveraging like HSB CAD or MWF exported file types like HMM, IFCs, WRT assembly. Are you exploring digital twin capabilities in order to pair this data with items like standard cycle time, WRT automation systems integrating OEE? I hope you understand all this, Lars, in order to derive balance at what is informed manufacturing. Go.
Hey, Brian. I think we should have a talk. This is not going to be answered here and now, I guess. But we are working on all these different formats and standards. That's what we are doing.
Perfect. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll let you guys have that one offline. I need to understand all those different acronyms that are up there. Moving forward, one more comment from Charles, and then we'll get back into it. Dave, I think when the industry sees success of cutting-edge factories like AutoVol, that will spark the rest of the industry. Until recently, automation has been the pie-in-the-sky dream of factory owners. Yeah, maybe so.
AutoVol is doing something extraordinary on the American market. As far as I understand, they are the absolutely most aggressive company working with automation. And I just think that it will be an outstanding factory when they are up and running and want to show the rest of the world what they are doing. I think that will be a new landmark.
Great. Well, I know we're all waiting. We're all waiting to see what they do. So we're looking forward to that. Hopefully they come on here and show us live.
They will, I'm sure. I am very close friend to Rick Murdoch that is leading that job, and I have been in Idaho some 15 times, 13 times last year and 4 times this year. So they are great friends to me, the whole team.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. So I know you can't talk much about it, but soon I hope we can talk about it and really dive into it. And I think it'll give us a lot of case studies and some other things. So it'll be interesting to see. All right, Lars, let's hop into the last segment of what you have here. Pull it back in. There you go. It's up on the screen.
It's on the screen. Okay. So we jump over to the user-generated data, and this is I'm picking a bit of what you can see on the market right now and a bit on what we would like to do in the future. And to the right here, I could make a long presentation of this, but I do it very shortly. In the middle, the yellow part there, the house, it's an app. And in the app, you can design your small cottage, the small house, and you have all the ingredients that you need, like windows, doors. You can choose different type of roof styles, different type of material, different type of floors, and so on. And as you are working on your product, you see the cost up in the corner. This is something that the customer is doing on their own computer at their home. They are getting the building permit drawings directly. They can go to and get the permission to build. They are just ordering the house, and it comes to their yard when it's said to be there. So here you have, it's not a CAD. It's not a CAD system making this house. It's pure data. And the data is generated in an app. and you are using real material coming from a sub-supplier. And the only problem with just this production is that it's totally manually afterwards. But they are getting the raw material and the sub-suppliers of all the parts, and they are delivering something to the site that is in the middle of the screen.
Lars, that company you're talking about, that's a Swedish company, correct?
It's a Swedish company, yes. And you have a number of different developed companies that are doing things like this. So it's just coming up here and there. To the left, I'm sorry.
That's okay. So I think I know who this is. I mean, what's interesting about them is they're doing an end-to-end solution. So not only are they collecting and the customer doing the design on their own, on their system, on the computer, but it's actually working it all the way through, giving them a price in real time to include site labor, if I'm accurate in saying that, before they even get off the computer.
They are doing that. And if they are not doing it, they should do it. So I mean that is a part of the future, I think, to be able to do that. To have a turnkey delivery with everything, that could be an option. It could also be an option to not have a turnkey solution, but it's a part of the choice from the customer. They are making that choice on their computers. To the left, we have our way of seeing it, and there we have the customers in the top. We have an app, and the customer could be a family, but it could also be a developer. So if you have a developer up there that wants to do a multifamily house, they have their tool to create that house.
Right.
If you have a single family house, they have their tool to create their product. And everything in that software is going to be designed for a factory. So the factory is also designed to actually produce what this software can make. And all is limited to the factory, so you cannot do things that you cannot write. So jumping to the next picture, it's just about the same thing. But we have the customer on top of it. We have the different options that the customer can go into. It's all fitting to the factory. The customer is asking something. The software design tool and the ERP system that is built into that software is asking questions for the sub-suppliers and the raw material, getting the order information, how quickly they can get it. The factory is giving the data back. And the factory knows exactly how to build these things, so it's not a big deal actually. It's not like it is in the today system that you need to redo everything that the designer already have done, because here it's fitting directly. It's made in the right way. And then you have all the other parts that, I mean, the owner of this system, and we need to deal with the governments and states and law and making specifications and do the R&D, so we're meeting the codes. And if we are not meeting the codes, I guess that this could lead the way of doing a new code, because here you have a supplier of a product that takes responsibility over that product. So it can be new ways of doing things instead of following the old codes that we are doing today, because the material need to be developed, and new type of materials need to be maybe not invented, but used in different ways.
Yeah.
And then you
Lars,
have
Lars, Chris Roush asks, is there a place they can find this app? Where can I find more information about the app you mentioned? My guess is it's a proprietary app to the company. Yeah.
You can call me and we will make that. that's the thing.
There you go.
Yeah. So I'm just in the end of this presentation. It's kind of a summary, and the conclusion is that we have a system there. The design is driving the production, and that is making a mess. We have very, very slow process of getting the products to the customers, and the producer, the customer have almost no communication. So we are not sure that we are delivering the right thing to the customers. That is the goal, but a lot of things can happen on the way. The new way of doing it, I mean, not for the whole market, but for part of the market, is that we need to find a way that the production is driving the design. And that is exactly what happens in the automotive, for example. IKEA would never do a furniture they cannot produce. That's just silly. And it's the same with automotive. They are designing for their production, and they are developing everything to fit into the production. So that is just something. That's my point. We need to find a way to do that in the affordable house industry as well.
Yeah, for sure. Love it. Well, listen, Lars, I mean, that was a great presentation. So what, if you had any advice for all of us out here that think they want to do automation, want to figure out how to do automation, want to build an app to design and, you know, have a flow through, talk to us about what the steps are. Where do you say, here's how you get started, you know, and like, how does the process begin for you?
What I told you about the app is when I'm going up in that helicopter very high and thinking freely of what I believe is the future. It doesn't mean that we can do that straight ahead. But I think that if someone wants to automate their production, they need to standardize, and they need to find out a way how to use their products in different ways. If we have the facade, for example, the box itself is maybe kind of standardized if you're talking about a multifamily house, but the facade can be made in a fancy and nice way. And also how you are placing these boxes makes a big difference for how the house is actually going to look like. So I'm not saying that we are going to do poor and boring and cheap with low quality houses. It's totally different. It's totally opposite. It should be very nice houses to a cheaper price, but more efficient in all ways.
Right. Do you think that America really, you know, the United States, do you think the consumer is ready for more standardized housing? Or do you think it's not even about them being ready for it? Do you think it's going to be more driven by the affordability to have a new house, to have an efficient house, to have an energy efficient home?
I think they are all over the world. You need different brands on different part of the world. You need a Tata brand in India. You need something else in Japan. You need a Volvo up in the north of Europe, and a Fiat up in the south. And for America, I don't know what kind of brand you need, but you need several, of course. And I'm honestly sure about that. Probably I have some developers that thinks that I don't know what I'm talking about. But I honestly think that also the developers would gain a lot of having this kind of tool there. They can more easily produce affordable housing for their customers and for their projects. Yeah. So I don't think this is opposite. It's just, it's good for everyone, but we need to find a way how to do it. And it's fitting perfectly into America, I think.
Yeah, for sure. You know, and with the developers even, you know, a lot of them don't want to own factories, right? They don't want to be stuck with a factory in a downturn market. These are some of the conversations I have had. But how come nobody's setting up like Amazon sets up distribution centers in this country, and you set up manufacturing facilities like a distribution center, like an Amazon, so you can produce at mass scale, and you can pull back when the market slows up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great need. If we are looking at America and looking at the statistics is telling the need of America. We need something like 300 factories to be built the next coming 10 years. And it's not small factories, it's big factories. And if we are automating these factories in I mean, not all of them necessarily, but if we are doing that in a good way, I think we have all the chances in the world to make something really good for these people that is in need today.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, let's take a couple more quick hellos here, and then we're gonna wrap it up. That's been it's almost been 55 minutes, Lars. I told you it goes fast, huh?
It's good.
You've done great. All right, so we got building products consulting, Tim Seams from the Treehouse. Now, what's great about Tim, Lars, is he's with John Burns Real Estate, which is a large real estate consulting firm and financial analyst here in the States, and he really is in a treehouse. He has a treehouse that he works out of. So it's kind of fun when Tim always joins us. So hey, Tim. Andrew Seeley from G-Pods, what's happening? Production driving design is powerful idea for all of us. Absolutely. Now, we're not going to get into the whole story about you and Doug Pill from Prefab Logic, but Doug says, good to see you, Lars Everett. He wrote also, the development market is ready for standardized housing. It is being proven today. So there you go.
I agree, and I don't want to talk too much about what they are doing, but it's very close to what we need and doing standard products.
Love it. All right, I love it. All right, and we got one other. So hey, Joel Butler, what is happening? Hi from Canada. Thank you for this discussion. Thank you, Joe. And just so everybody knows, Joe Butler and Forward Solutions Group is one of our sponsors, and they've been in this space helping others in manufacturing and volumetric for a long time. So I think it's good that you guys know each other because they like to be in your world, and I think that's great. So thanks, Joe, for tuning in today. Really appreciate you. We're not done yet. Jenny Melman is tuning in. What's happening, Jenny? Isn't standardized housing being built today where everything looks the same by big builders just being done super inefficiently?
Yeah, I think you are a little bit right, but I think it's a lot to do in the standardization as well. And I do think that we are not automating our factories. If we have a super standard product, we should automate the factories. But it seems like the factories or the producers are keen to keep to the flexibility and they are not taking the long-term perspective, really. They are looking short-term, and therefore it's risky to make automation. And the development is just stopping because you're not looking long-term on it.
Yeah. You know, maybe what we need to do is get some of these developers together on a roundtable live on this channel and bring in some of you guys, some of the experts like yourself, Lars, and actually have a real discussion about this. I think it'd be a great discussion just to see both viewpoints that happen. So we're going to work on that one. I'm going to bring you back for that. Lars Hartman. Hi, Lars, from, I don't even know how do you say that? Verkstock? Say it, Lars.
Lars Hartman is the guy that me and him developed that robot cell that you saw in the film. So he was working at Moelven, and now he is running a small firm that is making automation and machines for the house industry. so he's a great friend, and we are also cooperating quite a lot.
Outstanding. Jerry McCahey from Integra. I don't know if you know Jerry. He says, great show, guys.
I met him just a couple of weeks ago by LinkedIn.
Oh, good. Yeah. Great guy, and he's doing amazing things with panelized construction. All right, absolutely. One last comment. Doug Pill, yes, on the single family side, but not in the manufacturing arena. I guess he was talking about Jenny Melman's comment there. So Lars, this has been a great conversation. I really appreciate you taking time to tune in. We've had a lot of people tuned in today, so they find you very interesting, and I don't think it's just because of your accent. So
great. It was great to take part of your show. You're doing great.
Well,
thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, everybody, listen, please hit that like and share button one more time. Also, our road show is getting ready to happen. We are going to hit the road and travel across the country, East Coast, Midwest, and West Coast, and we are going to be live streaming a little bit like today, but a little bit better on location at manufacturing facilities. Maybe, hey, we'll get to AutoVol and they'll let us in the door. We'll see. I know somebody that knows those people now. And also we'll be at suppliers as well. So if you're looking to sponsor us, we're here. We're going to be doing this for about 6 months to a year. And we're really looking forward to bringing all of that to you. So Lars, hang tight. I think that's a wrap for today's show. Tomorrow is Thanksgiving here in the United States. So if I don't see you tomorrow, happy Thanksgiving. I will be on this show, but I'm going to have a drink in hand. It's going to be very casual. If we just want to have a conversation, Miles Biggs Ideas will be with us as well. So if you haven't had enough of your family already in this lockdown and you want to join us for a drink and just BS a little bit, join us, please. And then BS Friday with Mark Bare Naked Willie. Again, we're going to be talking building science, and we're going to go through some of our best episodes. So I love it. I'm having so much fun with everybody. Lars, I get to meet people like you and have these great conversations and bring this to the world. So thank you so much. Hang out right there. Everybody else, we'll see you tomorrow. Drink in hand, 1 p.m. Bye now.
Good.